Hi, everyone. My name is Annamaria George, a high school student from New Jersey. Thank you for choosing to learn more about nuts with me. Nuts have a lot to offer, some good and some bad. We will be evaluating whether eating nuts is useful to one's health. So let's break open the nutshell and find out. You may have seen the bags or boxes of nuts in your local stores that line aisles and aisles, tempting those who pass by. They do make for a quick, cheap, and easy snack, but do you really know what the life of a nut actually is? Nuts are a composite of seed and dry fruit found inside of a hard outer shell. Some nuts include almonds, cashews, peanuts, walnuts, and many more. Nuts provide many benefits in regards to cardiovascular health, but it also has risks that many might not know about. First, let's go over some benefits of including nuts in your diet. In order to evaluate how nuts can help us, we first need to understand what they contain. Nuts have many nutrients, and eating just a little bit is incredibly fulfilling. An ounce of mixed nuts compared to an ounce of meat is shown right here. As shown in this chart, almonds provide more protein, carbs, fiber, vitamin E, and magnesium, also while having less fat. This proves that almonds are sufficient replacement for red meat like beef. It's a healthy option, and one won't lose anything by replacing their meat with it in a diet. Also, it is a bountiful source for vitamins and other nutrients that the body needs to protect itself. For example, vitamin E is an antioxidant that may help reduce cellular damage and slow the aging process for the cells. Magnesium is an anti inflammatory substance, so it will help boost the immune system by reducing any inflammation within. Other nuts, such as walnuts, pecans, and chestnuts, have similar nutrient contents. So don't worry if nuts are bland. There are so many to choose from and many meals to add them in. You must have heard once that nuts were heart healthy. According to a study by Harvard, this is not out of the realm of possibilities. Nuts are excellent sources for healthy fat and protein. People who regularly eat nuts are less likely to have heart attacks or have poor cardiovascular health. The study found that even eating 1 ounce of nuts have a significant impact, especially in people with type 2 diabetes. Nuts, research suggests, protect the lining of your arteries, lower levels of inflammation in the heart, and reduce the number of blood clots. It also helps lower LDL, which is bad cholesterol, and raise HDL, which is good cholesterol. The omega 3 fatty acids in walnuts help reduce erratic heart rhythms. Harvard University has a podcast linked to their article, Nuts for the Heart. Please check it out in the description box below because it has a lot of good information on how nuts are heart healthy. Nuts have been linked to reducing cholesterol through its high amount of polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fatty acids. Unsaturated fats are healthier than saturated fats because they lower LDL, reduce inflammation, and build stronger cells. The break in the compound lets less fat to be within the compound. For instance, pistachios are the prime example for this. In a study, they found that after researching obesity, those who ate pistachios versus those who didn't had a 33% lower triglyceride levels, which are lipids or fats. This comes in handy for those who have high cholesterol levels, as they can use this natural method to help with their health. There have been speculations that nuts can aid with weight loss, and this may be true after all. Most people assume that because of the high protein and fat levels, nuts increase weight gain. However, when conducting studies, the nuts have been shown to protect against weight gain. Almonds and pistachios have been shown to be linked to weight loss rather than weight gain. In a study, about an average of 2 inches or 5 centimeters was lost in the waist circumference of people with a diet including almonds. One group ate a diet supplemented with almonds and the other did not. The almond group, after 24 weeks, had a 62% greater reduction in weight and BMI, 50% greater reduction in waist circumference, and 56% greater reduction in fat mass. Antioxidants are nutrients that can fight against oxidative stress, which is a phenomenon that is caused by an imbalance of substances with an abnormal increase of a toxin in cells and tissues. The toxin causes cell damage and reduces risk of disease. What food is a major source of antioxidants? Here's a hint. What food makes up the second letter I in the picture? Did you say nuts? Then, yes, you are right. Walnuts and almonds protect the delicate fats in your cells from being eroded and damaged from oxidation. A study found that 2 to 8 hours after eating pecans, there was a 26 to 33% decrease in oxidized LDL cholesterol, which is a high danger risk factor for cardiovascular disease. Now that we have went over the nuts, we need to talk about why the nut industry needs more attention. There are many problems surrounding the industry that not a lot of people are aware about. In this segment of the presentation, I will be shedding light on the situation. The first challenge is in the labor and safety protocols. Let's take a look at specifically the cashew nut industry. Prison and child labor are prominent in producing countries like Vietnam. Also, farmers lack knowledge of pesticide handling on their land. This causes many of the groundwater sources to be polluted and contaminated. Also, the subcontractors working with shelling nuts did not work under work contracts. This is dangerous as there are many safety concerns with this line of work. Cashews are located within a shell, which houses the toxin urushiol. Ingesting the toxin has been proved to be lethal, and coming into contact with them cause itching, blisters, and skin rashes. Many of the work in shelling cashew nuts are home based, so many of the workers do not have the proper equipment to handle this, causing them to come in harm's way. According to Daily Mail, burns are a fact of life for up to 500,000 workers in India's cashew nut industry, nearly all of them being women. They are employed without contracts, with no guarantee of a steady income, no pension or holiday pay. Many don't even get gloves, and even if they did, they probably could not afford to wear them. Gloves would slow down their shelling, and they are paid by the kilo. Many organizations have sprung up in order to take care of this issue, but there are many cracks in the system, with unaccounted workers, poor wages, and lenient safety protocols. The worker gap is not the only problem, as Mother Nature shares its concerns also. Climate change is a huge contributing factor to the downsizing of the industry. There are unpredictable seasons, increased temperatures, frost, and extended drought periods, which make for unavoidable problems that affect the success of the industry. In many of the countries where these crops grow, there is a shallow understanding for climate patterns for farming. The sustainability of farming can only develop if buyers can help them implement solutions such as torches to protect crops from frost. Turkey, which is the greatest producer of hazelnuts, will need help developing the right infrastructures and warehouses to protect their yield from the upcoming droughts. Climate change is a heavy hand in the success of these industries, and more work needs to be done in order to help preserve agriculture. In addition, many industries are facing low yields, causing a lack of interest among buyers. However, with increased demand for nuts, nut industries can come back at a safer and healthier cost. Investment can go towards training and resources for the farms. The problem lies in the disarray among farmers, which can be tended to if more organizations help discover cost efficient ways to produce nuts. The market raises heavy fluctuations in costs, and it is harder for companies to cover these. However, many organizations have implemented donation funds, which help reduce environmental issues, but there is still a long road of rebuilding ahead. Finally, transparency is a large concern for the industry. There are many concerns at grade B farms for the nut industry, but it isn't clear with the lack of reporting on the work here. If companies and brands were more involved in the process, then by teaching processing measures to producing countries will allow for increases in local employment, reduces worker wrongdoings, and increases transparency between the supply chain. Brands today need to make sure to look after their sellers instead of simply buying without turning a second glance. In order for that, consumers need to support local farms and help them produce the highest quality and safest nuts. We can follow the examples of agricultural lobbyists and advocates for our local farms to help understand the nut industry and its value. Another way we can help out is by eating more nuts to increase the consumer demand and to make sure that nut farms do not die out. Nuts do not just have to be eaten plainly, there are ways to include nuts in other meals as well. Salads, stir fries, and more can use nuts to make a variety in diet and increase our health. Here are some recipes that I have found. So, first on the left hand side, we have the apple walnut salad with balsamic vinaigrette. Key ingredients include apples, onions, lettuce, pecans or walnuts, and balsamic vinaigrette. In the middle, we have the walnut broccoli stir fry. Key ingredients include onions, carrots, mushrooms, broccoli, and walnuts. Then finally on the right hand side, we have the rosemary thyme spiced nuts. This includes roasting nuts with rosemary and thyme and other spices. It is a quick snack with a spicy twist. I highly recommend using nuts in your recipes instead of that months old bacon. It's a healthy and delectable alternative. The problem we face in today's society is that only 4 out of 10 Americans even eat nuts in their diet. Nuts are often seen as a snack only given on a long airplane journey, but there is a necessary call to include them in our everyday diets also. The amount of health benefits nuts have to offer is outstanding, and it's not fair to pass it up. I recommend that people try nuts and stick with them, as industries are dying off and they need us to raise support. We as one population needs to invest in our health in nuts because they have more to offer for us than most of the foods that America endorses. So, let's change that 4 out of 10 to 10 out of 10 in the future. Here are some more links for you to understand nuts on a more personal level. I hope that traveling to these websites will help you love nuts as much as I have through the making of this presentation. And thank you! I hope you all enjoy a blessed and happy day. Don't forget to eat your nuts.